Oh, and then how did the 8-ball tournament go? How did you place?
Oh yeah, about that. I was really funny on the stream. I was like cracking jokes and telling Carson's audience he's got warts and stuff. It was funny, but I was 7 balls in. The other person had 1, and then I knocked the 8-ball in by accident. So
Shoot.
yeah,
You hate to see it.
we really do.
Hi, I'm Brad. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Vancouver, Washington.
Calling from Auckland, New Zealand.
I'm calling from Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada.
And wherever you are, welcome to Blond Radio. Hi, I'm Brad. I live on the west coast of Canada. I love movies by Paul Thomas Anderson, and this might be the longest I've gone without a haircut. And welcome to Blond Radio, where every week I book calls with strangers from around the world. Today we'll talk to Anthpo, once known for his high school shenanigans, now trying to revive old YouTube. Sol Camilla, an Argentinian actress who's found an outlet on TikTok, and Selma, a journalist from Norway with a passion for constructive dialogue. But first, this week I put out some new content on YouTube, all about being single. In it, I had a great conversation with Rachel, a good friend of mine, whose words provided the inspiration for this week's prompt. How do you appreciate yourself? Here's what you had to say.
Hi, I'm Harrison from the UK, Stansted. The way that I appreciate myself is just treating myself, not regularly, but do things that make me happy, even if it's going on a bike ride to literally anywhere, or buying a fish, or, I don't know, just sitting with my dog, watching the world go by, and enjoying and smiling the time I have with the people I have with me in that moment.
Hey, I'm Jack, calling in from Fairfax, Virginia. I appreciate myself by going through old cast lists. As an actor, it's really easy to get wrapped up in your own emotions, and I mean, I'm a very emotional person, so every now and then I'll just go through old cast lists, old scripts, like, wow, that was fun, oh, I had a great time playing this character, doing this scene, learning this dance, making this memory. So yeah, that's how I appreciate myself.
Hi, my name is Jennifer and I am calling from Australia, and the things that I appreciate about myself is the fact that I'm always there for myself. I'll give an example of this one time where the internet completely shut down and everyone in my family was bored out of their mind, but I was just like sitting there in my room giving myself my own company, and I had so much fun nonetheless. So that is one of the many ways that I appreciate myself.
Hey, this is Kai Garcia from Wallingford, Pennsylvania, and I guess the way that I appreciate myself is I just try to take days for myself. Oh my goodness, that sounded kind of selfish, but just usually when I don't have chores to do and I make sure my mom's good and my dog's good, I'll hit the street on my old skateboard, listen to a lot of the music that has a lot of emotional baggage isn't the right word, but it's just my favorite music. It makes me happy when I listen to it, and I might spend the day out skating in town, and I just make sure to do that every so often because I know it's something that makes me happy. It's something I like to do.
Thanks to everyone for submitting their responses, and we'll hear more answers throughout today's show.
Yo,
That's what's up. Hello.
hello. Yeah, I was just in a 8-ball tournament with like Carson and a couple other YouTubers and got my ass kicked. So
Jesus, man, your come up is insane.
it's been interesting.
It's definitely been all right. Well, I'm Brad. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Brad.
And Anthony, Anthpo, and Anth. I've heard you called that. So what are you comfortable with?
I guess Anthpo is cool because that's what I get called most.
Awesome. How's your day going?
It's going good. The 8-ball tournament took a long time.
Yeah, I bet. And you're in Las Vegas right now, correct?
Yes, I'm in Las Vegas.
Such a trip, such a journey. And this is a little bit surreal for me because I remember initially seeing one of your first videos over a year now. It was the iconic, I'm sure you get a lot, the Yoshi video.
Yeah.
And here we are today. So also I want to congratulate you recently. Within, I think, the past couple of days, you hit 1 million subs.
Yes, sir.
God, how's that feel?
It just feels like a number, but the plaque is going to be cool, I think.
Hell yeah, man. Off the bat, I guess, as a creator, give me sort of the pitch on you to, who you are, how you got to where you are today, and maybe what you do for people that may not be super familiar with your work.
It's been a very long journey, but I'll do super spark notes. I started making these YouTube videos a year ago, January in high school, just to do fun things with my friends. And it's turned into a career. And that's literally it. Well, I try to keep old YouTube. That's the whole thing is like, I don't want to make commentary videos. I don't want to, go to the new style thing. Like I want to keep YouTube old. And I like the old stuff like Smosh and all that. And I make parody skits. I do real life stuff. Just try to keep it wholesome and try to make YouTube about the craft and not the commercial.
I was literally just speaking with someone today as far as like how much the YouTube landscape has changed, especially like in the past 2-3 years. And it's a lot of people, trying to push that 10-minute mark and really trying to get the ad friendly and get towards, really chasing the numbers. But what I really appreciate about your work is it sits in that really sweet niche of kind of old YouTube. It's very set up punchline. It's very, I don't know, it hits good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hell yeah. And I saw in your Instagram bio, you have "and student." Are you in school right now?
Yeah, I go to university and It's a lot.
Oh my God. I cannot imagine. What's that like juggling the schedule?
Impossible. It really is. I've sacrificed a lot. I don't keep up with relationships as much as I should, but I try to be cognizant of my time. I don't party or anything like that. I don't really have an option to because my schedule. But I think education is important for perspective. I don't give a crap about learning in general, but I tell stories and I need to understand as much as I can.
Damn, that's super true. And you spoke to, you've been making videos for a minute here on YouTube. Were you always drawn to video making and filmmaking growing up? Was there a certain point that started?
Yeah, I've been making, videos since probably 6th grade, just editing Minecraft videos. And freshman year of high school, I went to a vocational school, which is like a school meant for filmmaking and technology. So I did that. And freshman year, I made 200 YouTube videos just for fun. Like I didn't even make them public. And I really enjoyed making them. Junior year, I started a sketch comedy show with my buddies. We ended up doing well. We sold it. And then senior year, I transferred schools and started my YouTube channel.
And initially in those kind of earlier YouTube videos that are on your channel now, going around your high school, what was that relationship like? What was the decision to bring it into your high school, and were people cool with it?
It was not the best school in terms of like its reputation. It was known for like fights and drama and drug stuff. So the principal didn't really care that I was dressing up as Garfield and like causing a ruckus. People thought it was cool. And then people started to see me blow up. Like May of 2019, I gained 250,000 subs. My whole life like flipped upside down. Like I was a new person at the school, and then everyone like knew me and like wanted to chat and hear my story. So it was an interesting flip, and like everyone was chill. Like even dudes I didn't know, and I just run up to them and say something stupid, and they play back. It was actually really insightful. Like it gave me a lot of faith back in humanity.
Hell yeah. And I feel like you can kind of get that vibe from those high school videos. Like I love watching the people in the background because they notice, and it is somewhat of a spectacle, but it's also a little bit of this is kind of the norm.
Yeah. By like the 10th video, people were like, yeah, that makes sense. There he is.
Awesome. And we spoke to this earlier, but your videos thrive on humor, but it never really strays near that like quote unquote edginess or cheap laughs. It's all pretty, at least in my perspective, it feels super genuine. The Cars room makeover, the recent video you made about video games. Is there a conscious effort you're making to sort of stay in this lane of comedy, or has that always been your style?
When I did the sketch comedy show, we did a lot of edgy stuff. And they're still doing it today, even though they got bought out. And I just realized I want my content to be for everyone. Like obviously majority of my audience is in high school, 17, 18-year-olds. But I want like my mom to watch it and like think it's stupid, obviously, but still be able to watch it. And although like my sense of humor doesn't exactly align with what I make, I think, there are very few creators that make what they watch, if that makes sense.
That's true. Yeah. Keeping it broad definitely is also probably going to help play into the algorithms and stuff, which is always helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
And, with your schedule, with how everything hectic's been, it's not frequently that you mention it, but I've noticed it in a few, through your TikToks, through the YouTube. You mentioned offhandedly, still single. Is that... Is that something that like you're actively like thinking about, or is it kind of on the sidelines for now?
No, that's just really funny to me. Like I don't even want to be in the relationship. I just think it's really funny that like I have this persona of like a huge virgin. Like I have all this success on the internet, but like I've never kissed a girl. Like that's just like one of the funniest narratives to me. I like kind of playing into that.
Yeah, you're putting so much work into this, and you're speaking to it. It's like you almost don't have time for it. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I made the joke once. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna say that all the time now. And so I try to keep it consistent. Like people will be like, "Oh, do you have a girlfriend?" I'm like, "Nope, never have, never will." Like stuff like that.
Hell yeah. Do tell. What is it like living in a quote unquote TikTok house?
Oh boy, I make very different content for sure. And I don't care as much about just being famous as much as I do just making things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of not how TikTok works. You're one of the few exceptions I've seen where it's create for creation and the whole craft. But almost 99% of TikTokers go into the platform like, I want to be famous.
Yeah.
So it's different. It's really different. Living in this TikTok house has been an experience. I've learned a lot. Not all of it is going to help me, I don't think, but it's good to have perspective. You know, like I talked to all these YouTubers today and they just thought it was really interesting because obviously it's not a play that most people in my situation would make. So
no, for sure. And that's as far as like the house itself, that BuzzFeed article this week, I really enjoyed that as much as it a little bit felt tongue in cheek, like, oh, we're talking about a TikTok house. But like out of all the houses, and I attest to this, I'm showing you guys off to anyone who gets near my phone. I absolutely love that your house. Because it is different. Like, it's not this melding pot of similar ideas. Like, as you're saying, your content is different from everyone else's in the house. And I feel like everyone in the house has their own style and blend to it.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see how we managed to collaborate. I don't think maybe Dawn and Will have similar audiences, but everybody else has just like different reaches on the internet. And I think the fact that we've managed to make it work attests to our like creative ability. Everyone in this house is really creative and good at working with one another, and I just don't. I mean, obviously TikTok is very new and the whole collaboration in houses thing is very new, so yeah, it's definitely different and it's a really good experience, and our content's okay. Like it's pretty good for a house. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna gas us up a little bit.
I do enjoy it. Yeah, I do get excited when I see a new house post in the feed. That's always brightening my day. And, you know, to your speaking to, it's like, sure, you have different audiences, but at the core of it, it's kind of the same creative process.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like it's just we think of something funny and we film it. I mean, obviously the one thing we all do is make comedy videos, and humor is subjective, but I think at the core, like there are a lot of things that just everyone inherently finds funny. Yeah.
Where do you see your content moving forward? Do you have goals that you haven't reached yet, or are you just kind of going day at a time?
I think day at a time right now. The goal in the future is to make something that'll far precede my physical body. Like I want to make something that people watch in 100 years and go, wow, like that was great. Because, you know, I think you die twice. You die once when you actually die, and you die the second time when someone says your name for the last time.
Damn.
And I think about that a lot, and I kind of put my content in that same boat. So if my content lives forever, then I kind of live forever, and that's the long-term goal. But I don't know what my YouTube channel contributes to that, but hopefully something.
I feel like it's well on its way. Yeah, I've also heard that quote. I can't remember where I heard it from, but it's a heavy one and it sticks with you. Well, Anthpo, I do want to thank you again for taking time every day to speak with me. But in closing, I was wondering, it seems like committing is something a lot of people struggle with, whether it be making videos, pursuing a dream, or these simple day-to-day goals. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling to stick to their path?
That's a good question. I would say the most important thing is to do as much as you can initially and figure out what you unconditionally love. And it might not be what you think you're going to love. You might want to be a YouTuber and you get in the space and realize it's not for you, and that's totally fine. So it's not as much about finding that one thing. It might even be just, you know, because there's two types of people, right? There's people who do what they love, and then there's people who learn to love what they do. So figure out what type of person you are, try as much as you can, dip your feet. And I think everybody has that one thing. I truly do think everybody has that one thing that they're going to love unconditionally.
Yeah. And especially like I talk to a lot of younger people on here, and something a lot of young people struggle with is like school and figuring out what they want to do. But I think the trial of that is just doing something, starting with something. It doesn't have to be the thing that, you know, you do forever, but you're never going to know until you try.
Yeah. I mean, you might, you know, drown a little bit spending so much time doing a bunch of stuff, but it's worth it. Because you might find your dream job, or, you know, you might find your passion, a great hobby. You might find someone you really like in the spaces you go to, and you get married, and that ends up being your life. I don't know. I'm a firm believer that well-rounded people are the best types of people in all aspects possible. So
that's beautiful. Word. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Anthpo, again, thank you so much for taking time in your day to speak with me.
Yeah, bro, your stuff is so sick. I was like, yeah, I mean, Billy knows you, but I was like, I found your stuff one day. I was like, yo, you know this guy? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yo, this guy's sick. Like, this stuff's so cool.
Thank you.
So, yeah. I mean, like I said, like perspective is everything, and I feel like you've got a good head on your shoulders, and I think you're gonna go far. I think you're chilling.
And if I'm gonna be anywhere, I'd love to be chilling. So thank you for that, sir.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Well, yeah. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well.
Talk to you later. Ciao.
Hi, I'm Logan and I'm calling from Vancouver, Washington, and I appreciate myself by laughing at the stupid things I do to make my friends laugh. Even when stuff may seem pretty hard and I can't get through today, I still look at the brighter side.
Hi Brad, this is Ria calling from Auckland, New Zealand. How I appreciate myself is by giving myself kind words of affirmation. I always tend to forget to do this, but when I do, it calms me down. It makes me remember that at the end of the day, I'm a human and that I'm going to make mistakes in life and I'm going to learn from them and become a better person. Being hard on yourself constantly doesn't help. So when I do remember, I make sure that I tell myself, I look in the mirror and I say, you got this, and you're okay, and you'll be alright.
Hello. I'm Brad. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How's your day going?
It's going good.
And you're calling from Argentina, yeah?
Yeah, from Buenos Aires.
Awesome. And you did send me a voice prompt earlier. I hope, okay, do correct me here. Soy Camilla Lou?
Yes, Soul Camilla, Soul.
Okay, cool. Awesome. I think first off the bat, just sort of give me the elevator pitch on you. Tell me who you are, what you do for people that, may not be super familiar with your work.
Well, I'm an actress and a singer here in Buenos Aires. I do a lot of theater work here. I create a lot of content online. I started doing that a little while ago. I'm just trying to grow.
Hell yeah.
Trying to find my way in this world of art.
When did you know acting is what you wanted to pursue? I saw in, I think, one of your reels somewhere that started on the stage at one point. Is that correct?
Yeah, I started when I was very young. I started singing and doing musical theater about 5 years old. And I've just never seen another option as viable for me. I think I've always known deep inside that's what I was supposed to do.
That's so cool. And that's very, it feels like very few people actually know, from that early what they want to do. So I'm glad that you found that.
It's always been something that's been with me.
And you mentioned you started making more content online kind of recently. When did that start? Because this account of yours is kind of taken off.
Yeah, it started... I've had TikTok since it was Musically for a long time, but I never wanted to show myself there. I was always more of a viewer. And with all of this COVID here in Argentina, everything was locked down quite early. We started in March.
Wow.
We've been in lockdown ever since. So we still are under lockdown. We can't go out yet. We still need permissions to go out and do stuff. So I started to post stuff just randomly. And suddenly one of my videos took off and another one. And I've created a very small community of really specific people who like really specific things. And I really like finding those people on the internet.
Yeah, that's so true. There's a surprising amount of niches to find once you, start putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And you were in a film recently, is that correct? I'm seeing some stuff here. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I was able to film a movie in March of 2019 last year. And it was my first big feature film. It was going to be in movie theaters and everything here in Argentina. Right. Film industry is still quite small, but it's taking off. And it's the first time working on like a big production, actual sets and money. Due to COVID, everything was, the premiere, everything was canceled. Right. But they're doing it online now. So it's kind of like a new view of the world. Everything's on the internet. And exactly. I'm very bad at technology. I do not even own a computer. I had to get a phone. I had to save up and get a new phone for all of this just to be able to immerse myself in this new world.
Oh, interesting. Do you find it as you're speaking to as sort of like an emerging or smaller film industry where you're at currently, what sort of challenges does that present trying to, pursue the arts on a potentially global scale?
It's new to me. It's new to me. It's all like, for example, like for this phone call, trying to download Skype for me, like calling a friend and my like telling me like, it sounds like I'm talking to a grandma right now, and I was like, oh, just help me. I don't know what buttons to touch. The fact that my friends are like, I can't believe you took off like on social media like that. Mm-hmm. Besides the fact that you do not know how to operate a phone, I think that if you have art to show, the way you show it doesn't really matter. In the end of the day, it's about what you're showing, not really how. So if you're able, I'm able to film things with a camera, so why not with a phone? Mm-hmm. Why not with what I have?
I love that. I'm a firm believer in like quality will always eventually attract an audience. The algorithm, on the other hand, will be difficult to read forever. So
yeah, that's just something you can't figure out.
Exactly. Where would you like to take your arts in the future? Do you have any sort of plan or intentions or goals you haven't reached yet?
I'm trying to expand myself more into English-speaking countries. I traveled the world a lot as a young person. We moved a lot, and I've traveled. I've lived in many countries. Mm-hmm. I've always said that my goal in life is to reach different cultures and to not be identified with one, because I don't identify. Like, I have this thing with my social media this joke with my followers that I am from no country, because I have never lived in a place for more than 2 years. So I think anywhere. I don't have a set goal. I just want to be everywhere and anywhere that I'm welcomed in.
Awesome. That's super cool. And because of that, because you haven't been tied down to one spot, what does home mean to you?
Oh, that's such a hard question. I'm still trying to find that place that I can call home. And I'm not ready to like settle down in that sense of a word yet. So I'm still open to search and find that.
And I'm sure travel is such a inherent empathy vehicle. You get to see so many different perspectives. Do you feel like that's helped you in acting, having all these venues?
Yeah, so much. It's a blessing and a curse. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I joke around a lot about the fact that I have so many languages in my head. Sometimes I can't speak any of them correctly 100%. So sometimes I'm trying to direct a scene or do something and I want to say a word and I have to like look down, like, wait a minute, let me figure out how to say this in this language. But at the same time, art speaks all the languages. So I'm able to find a different way to say that. If I can't say it with words, I'll be able to say it in another way. So yeah. Definitely.
That's super beautiful. That's awesome. I do want to thank you for taking time every day to speak with me. But in closing, I was wondering, what advice could you give to someone who wants to pursue the arts but doesn't quite feel like they have the means available to them?
Well, the quality of your work is what has value. The fact that you have something to say, there's always going to be someone who's going to hear you and feel touched in some way. And if you have a message, find your way to say it.
That's definitely words that have helped me in the past, and thank you for that.
Yeah, I absolutely love what you do. Immediately following, just on the first video that I saw. Oh. I didn't go on your profile, and I just assumed it was like this big page that everyone followed.
That's too kind. Too sweet. Yeah, of course, on my end, it's been just another, this came because, I lost my job to COVID. So it's so cool to see it turn into something bigger than me.
Yeah, we're all finding ourselves on this. And it's also we're creating a new sense because there's so many new people on the app.
Oh, for sure.
It's contagious and it's beautiful.
Lovely. Well, thank you again for taking time every day. It was so lovely to speak with you.
Thank you for listening and thank you for putting it out into the world.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch. I'll talk to you later.
Of course. Goodbye.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Hey, I'm Cameron. I'm calling from Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, and I try to appreciate myself by investing in myself, whether it's listening to a podcast or reading a book to try and gain some new perspective on whatever it is I'm doing, to investing literally in stuff like gear and equipment and not necessarily spoiling myself, but making sure my needs are met and that I feel fulfilled and satisfied in life. And I feel like that allows you to look back at wherever it is you're coming from, and it gives you almost a really tangible idea of the progress you've made. And I feel like that's a really good way to appreciate yourself and how far you've come in life.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm from Texas, USA, and every day I look in the mirror and tell myself that I am 100% worth it. I tell myself I can do anything I want to, and it makes me feel empowered and loved.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm Brad. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Selma.
Selma. Awesome. Lovely name.
Thank you.
Cool. And you're from Norway, yeah?
I am.
Which is absolutely crazy. So glad we could connect. How's your day going?
It's going great. I have a late vacation.
Oh, nice.
I've been working all summer. So I've had 1 week off, and now I'm on my second week off.
I hope you enjoy.
I hate it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think I'm a workaholic.
Right, yeah. When faced with the uncomfortable, empty schedule. Yeah, I guess
there's so much time to deal with my thoughts and myself, and I just I think it's a healthy thing though that I have this vacation. I think I distract myself with work and appointments and all of that, and then I get tired, and so I think this is a good vacation.
Definitely deserved, it sounds like. Sweet. Well, I think off the bat, just kind of give me the elevator pitch on you, kind of like, who are you, what do you do, and what got you to where you are today?
Yeah, I'm a 24-year-old girl or woman, I don't know, somewhere in between.
For sure.
I'm a journalist, and I live in an apartment. I do improv theater, actually.
Oh, cool.
I don't like to tell that to people. I don't know why. I just feel like all of the stereotypes of a improv theater person comes to mind. I do that once a week, so I'm a little bit fun as well. I got a boyfriend recently. So
congratulations.
That's a thing. Thank you very much. And is that a good enough pitch? I don't know.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. I have some friends too,
Yeah.
in between all the working. Yeah.
Quite essential, quite essential. And you're a journalism student, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not a student anymore. I
cool.
work full time.
Nice. What drew you to, I guess, like journalism in the first place? Was that sort of always a constant, or is that something you had to discover through schooling?
No, I've always enjoyed writing. So after high school, I started on this writing school, but that was creative writing. So I wanted to be an author, but I think maybe what drew me to journalism is storytelling, basically. I believe that stories about people's lives are really powerful. So yeah, I think that's why I wanted to be a journalist. And also I like the idea of having a job that holds responsibility in some way. And I feel like being a journalist today is a big responsibility.
Of course.
So I like that about my job, that I feel like it's important, kind of. I can use my creative sides as well because I do write my opinions. I have my own column.
That's so cool. And
thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure, at least over here in North America, journalism is pretty, and like more so recently and more so in the United States. I'm from Canada, but like under pretty heavy scrutiny, and it's something a lot of people have their eyes and attention on. At least here in Canada, it is more so like, yeah, as you're speaking to, it's a big responsibility, and there's lots of, you're informing so many people.
Yeah, and you can make a lot of damage, kind of.
Right.
And make a lot of good. So that's where the responsibility comes in.
The journalism integrity.
Yeah, integrity. Absolutely. I think journalism is under a lot of pressure because of, I don't like the phrase fake news, but like the internet is kind of serving us so much information, and it's really important that you have good information.
Right.
But also, I work a lot with op-eds because I'm, does that word make any sense to you?
Op-eds, for sure.
Okay, I had to Google what it's called in English. So I'm editor-in-chief of the op-ed pages in our newspaper.
That's so cool.
So my job is to pick out op-eds and read everything that they send to us. So I have to like be good at picking out good op-eds, but also a variety of opinions and make sure that, you know, freedom of speech and everything like that. And also I write my own opinions. So, you know, when people listen to you and read your opinions, like you have responsibility to write about things that are important. Yeah.
That sounds like you're juggling a lot, but it sounds like you're succeeding. So I wish you the best of luck there.
Well, thank you so much.
In your opinion, what makes a good, let's say, op-ed or a good story? What really catches your eye personally?
You know, I actually think that the personal stories are really powerful. Some people disagree. They don't like it when I use my own stories. But sometimes I do. I get kind of personal.
Right.
And I do that because I think when I have experienced something and write about it, often so many people respond to me in a total different way. So of course you should use facts as well. Recently I wrote about my learning disabilities because I have learning disabilities in math. I don't know what it's called in English because it's a really hard word, but it's kind of like when you're dyslexic, but with numbers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wrote about that because the school system isn't good enough for students like me. So when I was a child, I didn't have good enough support, and I was lucky, so I got through it all. But I had really good grades, but I just didn't understand math. And I think that it's really such a negative thing that one grade could like ruin your whole chance at an education.
Right.
And because I use my own story in that, I have gotten so many messages from people that is in the same situation or their kids are in the same situation. So that is kind of how I like to use my voice, if you understand what I mean.
Totally. When you get to that point of being so kind of raw and open, I think it forces your audience to engage with those parts of themselves as well. So maybe, as you're saying, you get some feedback that's maybe not so great on how personal your stories are. But I think it is so important to get to that base level of what you're feeling and what you're going through in your experience, because those stories are so universal.
Yeah, and I got an email from a man who said, like, why are you being so personal in the newspaper?
Men.
Yes. And why are you like exposing yourself that way? Why aren't you just like writing about it on Facebook? And I wanted him to give him like a real answer. And my answer to him was that I think we need stories. Our stories are also very political. Where would the debate about healthcare for women be if no women ever told their stories about their experiences? So we need people's experiences as well, and we need to view them as political. Because people would tell me that I only want to like get attention, but that's never been my motivation. Actually, it's harder for me to be personal. It costs something. That's my opinion on the Me Too movement as well. When people tell their stories, it costs something. It's really hard to tell a story that's so personal, and we need it, and it's highly political.
Absolutely.
I'm babbling, but yeah. That's kind of the point, probably, but...
It is, yeah. And then you have your own podcast. Sort of tell me about that, and then, what inspired you to start it?
Yeah, I'm making it for the newspaper that I work in. So it's me and the political editor in my newspaper. He is 47. He always yells at me when I say he's 50, so I have to be careful. And the podcast is about the gap in our generations.
Right.
So we talk about big themes and we try to view it from different sides. Because I see things really different than he does, but we're kind of close friends and good colleagues. So that's kind of the idea behind it. I am a young woman in a workplace where there's a lot of older men, and I think it's kind of interesting that you can have like a really cool and great connection with somebody, but they view life so differently. So I think that we had like really great and interesting conversations in our lunch break, and then I said we should make a podcast about it. And then we just did that.
That's so cool. I feel like that's something I'm noticing more and more, especially, with Gen Z and the current states of the 2010s and 2020, how open and free and quickly obtainable information is right now. How many young people are on that. You go on TikTok, you see all these videos of the protests, you see so many educational videos of people, you know, describing their personal experiences. And as cool as that is, I think it can also further that gap between, you know, that's what you're speaking to, that sort of generational, sometimes even bringing these ideas to my folks and really try and explain and talk through them can be a little difficult. Do you find that the case?
Absolutely. And I'm under the impression that since I work a lot with debate, that, that there's like a generation war, probably. Like, men in their 50s is often very mad at me for taking space and talking. And I think that's kind of interesting, how my colleague kind of feels like he has some authority over me, but I don't feel that really, because I'm from a generation where those lines have been kind of crossed out, because I can write whatever I want on Twitter and people will listen to me. So that it doesn't make him a bad person, it just makes us really different. And I think it's really important that we have a dialogue instead of just being kind of mean to each other. Like, it's really easy for me to pull the card of, you're just an old ignorant man, and for the men to say that I'm just what do they call me, woke? I'm from the woke generation. We're like arguing and picking fights at each other, and we should like go in dialogue instead. So that's like one of my projects.
I love that idea of dialogue, as far as like, you know, end goal, hopefully like you come to understand, and like there's a point of enlightenment. But at the bare minimum, if you could just like see from each other's perspective and see why you believe the things you do, that'd be so lovely. But
I know. Yes, because we don't have to agree, but we have to like try to understand. I think that is a
word.
That's well said. I think that is important, to try to just understand where people's opinions come from, and what their background is, and why they believe what they believe, instead of just being angry and saying you're wrong.
Absolutely. And if that's not journalism, I don't know what is. Well, Selma, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to speak with me.
Thank you so much for listening to me.
Of course. But in closing, I was wondering, what advice would you give to someone? I really enjoyed what you were speaking to as far as sort of like understanding each other and empathy. What's basic tool you could recommend to someone to approach a conversation or a dialogue in a really constructive way?
I think we need to remember that we're more alike than we think we are. That everybody struggles with things. Everybody got their own battles. And I think we compare ourselves to each other so much, and we compete, and we want to be the best. But we forget that everybody is insecure. Everybody's wondering, am I doing this right? Am I good enough? Every person you have ever looked up to is also scared. So just acknowledging that everyone is a little bit of a mess makes it easier to understand a human being. Like, we're all just like figuring things out.
That's super beautiful.
And as far as being in a conversation with someone, I don't know. I think we need to be better listeners, maybe. Because when I work with op-eds, I so often see that we just want to make a point. We don't really want to understand. And our conversation only goes so far if we only look for things we can disagree on. The goal is not to agree on stuff, but we just need to be better listeners. And and keep in mind that people are not, they come from they have different stories that you don't know about. There's reasons they're mad, for example. All of these men that write me horrible things when I write in a newspaper, they got some shit to figure out, I guess.
Totally.
And it's not on me. Yeah.
Not at all, of course. Yeah, I like that. I've, definitely caught myself bewildered by other people's convictions, but what you're speaking to is so true. Just sort of like slowing down and being like, okay, what got this person to where they are? And how can I at least try to empathize with that?
Yeah. And sometimes you meet people that have opinions that make you mad, but you can still like them.
Oh,
in
for
some
sure.
sort of way. But I feel like we take sides too much, kind of. We want everyone that we disagree with to be stupid people and mean and evil. And I don't think that's true. I just think we disagree on things. Yeah, we should not make it a war, kind of.
So just slow that roll, slow down and get some perspective yourself, perhaps. Beautiful. Thank you, Selma.
Thank you so much. It was fun talking to you.
Likewise, it was quite enjoyable. Thank you again for
Okay, good.
taking time out of your day.
Yeah, me too. Okay, have a great day, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll definitely be in touch.
Cool.
Cool. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Yeah, bye.
Ciao. Special thanks to Anthpo, Sol Camilla, and Selma for making this episode possible, as well as everyone who submitted a response online. Intro music provided by Wayfie, that's Wayfie, and accompanying tracks by Low Boil, that's Loboil, who can both be found on all major streaming platforms. If you haven't checked it out yet, there's a new video up on YouTube at Blond Radio, plus an opportunity for you to win some free merch. It was a lot of fun to work on, and I can't wait to do similar work in the future. I'll see you soon, and thanks for tuning in to Blond Radio.